Welcome into the Viewhouse Centennial for another fantastic episode of the Nissan Football Blitz. We got Nate Jackson here, we got Mike Sanford here, and we got another win to talk about. It was ugly, but guess what? On the score sheet, it just comes up as a win. You don't get less points for it being a win.
Yeah, there's no percentage point based off how well you won. It's just one. And they got that one win, and that's all that mattered.
So they go on this road trip, guys. They come back 2-2. Mike, you were saying hoping for a split. I wasn't sure they were going to win any. Now, of course, you're 2-2 on the season. How good is this Broncos team?
Well, I think this defense is phenomenal. It is playing with such togetherness. It's not necessarily about one superstar. It's about the totality of this unit. And Vance Joseph has been phenomenal, clinical even in dialing up the pressures against Aaron Rodgers. Like you can blame the weather. You can say this or that, the other thing. At the end of the day, you just shut down Aaron Rodgers. 0 touchdowns on the road.
And you sacked him 5 times, and that doesn't happen with Aaron Rodgers.
And it's awesome to watch old man Rodgers try to get up off the turf and look sad.
You were right.
Yeah, throw that towel over your head, Aaron. We feel bad for you. Not really. You asked how good is this team?
Yeah.
I don't think we know yet.
Yeah.
There's a lot of teams in the NFL, we don't know who they are yet. You know, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were 2-0. The Broncos went there, whooped them, and then they got back on track last week. The Saints won their first 2 games by an astronomical margin, lost their last 2. I think teams are just starting to figure out who they are. But like Coach said, the Broncos defense, really good. Special teams has been pretty darn good. And now it's up to the offense to hold their end of the bargain. 10 points was enough last week, but it's not going to be enough every week. And I think Sean Payton, when he walked to the podium and he looked kind of sad after the game, even after the win, it's because he's winning that ugly style. He wants to win 35-28. He doesn't want 10-9 because he knows eventually those 10-9 wins are not going to be wins. They're going to be losses.
Likes that his defense winning, but he wants his offense to win. So let's talk about Bo Nix. Obviously, that game's a little bit hard to judge on because it was so rainy, it was so nasty. But when you look at the big picture of Bo, and I know people are going to bring it up, his yards per attempt are the lowest of any quarterback that started all 4 games. Is this sustainable to keep playing this way and get wins while Bo starts to figure this out? What do you think?
Well, I have 2 different kind of views on it. I mean, the one negative that I personally saw was just he didn't look comfortable like in that weather at all. Like he looked I'm a body language guy. I've coached the quarterback position for a long period of time, and you can tell when a quarterback is just not right and is not feeling it that particular day. But on the flip side, the way this defense is playing, I actually like the way Bo's grown in the last 2 weeks because he's not turning the football over. He's not taking sacks. And when is the last time that Broncos fans can say that about their starting quarterback? No turnovers, no sacks. I can't remember the last time.
Yeah, another quarterback who didn't look comfortable in that game, Aaron freaking Rodgers, a guy who's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer and one of the best to ever do it. The rain clearly affected both sides of the football. And by the way, the Jets, one of the best defenses on the planet too. Arguably even better than the Broncos. I mean, you look at the numbers, those are both top 3 defenses. Right. Bo Nix is facing that kind of defense in the rain with a new system, trying to dissect all this stuff. Talking to our friend Jake Plummer recently, and he talked about the good misses in that game that Bo Nix threw. They weren't bad misses. They didn't get picked off. He talked about the lack of turnover. So it's either my guy gets it or nobody gets it. And I think as he becomes more comfortable in this offense, he's going to give his guys more of a chance to win some of those balls. But he's protecting the ball. 4 sacks in 4 games. Didn't throw a pick. And Sean Payton loves that.
Yeah. I mean, you got to love the no sacks. You got to love where he's going. Okay, let's take
Russell
a look
Wilson sacked 45 times last year in 15 games, and the year before that, 55 sacks. That's why he's gone.
Yeah. There you go. Let's look at, though, I know you said we don't know how good the Broncos are yet, but now you look at the next quarter of the season. You got the Raiders, you got the Chargers, you got the Panthers at home, you got New Orleans on the road. What is the Broncos' record, guys, after 8 games?
It's going to all come down to the bottom 3 teams, clearly, of the AFC West.
Yeah.
And I think that there are so many unknowns for the Chargers. Justin Herbert hasn't thrown for 200 yards yet, but they're running the football.
Yeah.
The Raiders seem like they are just typical Raider fashion, drama every single which way.
We love to see it.
But I think that the direction of the Broncos franchise is going to be predicated on how you do against these AFC West opponents in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We love to see the Raiders in turmoil, but they've been in turmoil every single time we played them, and they come in here and get right against the Broncos. That can't be the case again this Sunday. I don't know if you remember a couple years ago, it was Ring of Fame day for Mike Shanahan getting inducted. All right, and McDaniels comes in as the coach of the Raiders and whoops the Broncos.
Yeah.
The Broncos couldn't score a point. This is another Ring of Fame game. This is another alumni weekend game. This is another game in which the Raiders are down and out.
Yeah.
There's a lot of dysfunction. For the Raiders, they're looking like getting right against the Broncos. We can solve all of our problems by beating the lowly Broncos. The Raiders have beat the Broncos 8 straight times. If the Broncos can beat the Raiders on Sunday, that's going to create some home momentum, which they need, and get that home field advantage back in power. I think after these next 4 games, I think they could be 4-4, maybe 5-3.
Okay, I love it.
Shoot, maybe 6-2.
Yeah, why not? I love what you're saying, though. That's a great point about the Raiders. You can't overlook them because this happens all the time. And you're wearing the new throwback threads. Can't ruin it because the fans love it. Got these gorgeous helmets. You got gorgeous fits. We're going to take a quick break, but coming up on the other side, we're going to find out the keys to not dropping a 9th game to the Raiders, because I don't think as a fan base, Broncos country can handle that. We will get the keys right here from Nate and Mike when we come back. Welcome back into the Nissan Football Blitz for Raiders Week. Broncos looking to beat the Raiders for the first time since 2019. That makes me feel a little icky inside, but streaks are meant to be broken. You know, they had that long losing streak to the Chiefs, but at least the Chiefs were winning Super Bowls. Like the Raiders one almost feels worse, right?
It does. The dysfunction is consistent. The only consistency around that franchise is that there are going to be some inner turmoil. But like I said, sometimes those turmoil type moments as a franchise or as a team, they end up kind of galvanizing together. And I think there might have been some locker room issues, not just with Antonio Pierce and Devontae Adams, but with some of the players and Devontae Adams. That's something that I would keep my eye out to see how inspired and motivated the Raiders team is.
Well, not to spoil that, but I feel like that leads us into keys of the game, and let's start with Nate's.
Okay. My key to the game, and it's not going to be tactical. This is not going to be technical. It's not going to be quarterback design runs relative to other plays. It's going to be this. Remember this. The Raiders are your enemy. They are not your friends. These are not your colleagues. They're not your peers. They're not your fellow union members. You don't train with each other in the offseason. These are your sworn enemies. Look up in the stands and see what's going on there with the fans, the Raiders fans versus the Broncos fans. We don't want to hear Raiders at all in this game. The Broncos need to step on the Raiders' throats early, and I know you're going to talk about that, but they got to remember, this is an AFC West rival. They have to beat the Raiders at home if they have a chance of doing anything in this division.
And it's alumni weekend. There's so many reasons, but like you said,
history.
They went 3-3 last year in the division. You can't do anything when you're 500 in the division. Mike, your key to victory.
My key to victory is a very fast start, and I'm talking 2-touchdown lead at some point in the first 2 quarters. In Power Field, the faithful have been wanting to be entertained. I don't care how it comes. I don't care if it's Bo Nix throwing 2 touchdowns or Riley Moss taking a pick to the Jones and maybe Javonte Williams run for a touchdown from the 1-yard line. You get up by 14, guess what your defensive line can do? Pin their ears back and make it all about the pass rush. That's how you win. It happened in the Bucs game. Let's see it at home.
Not only that, can I say something?
Yeah.
The home field advantage that used to exist at Empower Field has been gone.
Took the words out of my mouth.
Why? It's because they don't score early. It's because they get behind and the crowd's like, oh, sad.
Boring football again.
If you get on them early, then there's something to cheer about, and there's also a reason to make it loud so the opposing offense can't operate.
I mean, Nate, when you played for the Broncos, the expectation was that you won, 7 home games? I mean, fans were pissed if you dropped 2 a year at home, right?
Yeah. It was always, I mean, the altitude, elevation helps, but the crowd, man, and the fact that we believed that we needed to win in front of these home fans. And so the divisional opponent, you're going to have to go play them there, so you got to beat them here, and we need to create that expectation at home again.
Why do you think, I feel like NFL rivalries aren't quite what they used to be. Why not?
It's a great question. I think there's obviously with the Raiders, they've moved so many dang times. Like my childhood, my dad was coaching at USC. They were the Los Angeles Raiders and shared a stadium with the team my dad coached at. And it's just ping-ponging all over the country. I just don't. I mean, you look at the fights in the stands. I think that doesn't have anything to do with rivalries. It has to do with a little bit too much consumption. So let's make sure we keep it classy at Empower.
Keep it on the field.
See, I disagree with Coach. Absolutely. We got to remember these are rivalries, and we got to not be friends with these dudes. Yeah, you want to exchange jerseys afterwards, throw an arm around each other. No, I'm trying to destroy you. I'm trying to extract your football soul and twist it into a ball in front of you and stomp on it while you watch, Mike. That's what we got to
do. That again. Can you? I want you to take
I'm going to extract
Look
your
at the
football
veins
soul.
Popping. Yes, there you go.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do here. And look in the stands. That is the lead for how we should be dealing with this emotionally out there. And I think the rivalries should exist in the NFL. But, guys get cut so fast. They shuffle around from here to there. You realize as a player there's not a lot of loyalty towards the players. Like, I have a buddy who's next to me. His locker's next to me. I come into work tomorrow. His locker's gone. I never see him again. It's hard to devote yourself to that logo. But at the same time, it is about the fans. And you look up and you see these fans and how much they care about this game. You got to care too.
Absolutely. Oh, well, I'm pumped up from that. I'll tell you what, the rivalry's back. Nate brought it back for us. We got a lot more Broncos talk coming up. Of course, tomorrow we'll get you ready for the game. Join us for Forward Countdown to Kickoff, 9:30 in the morning. Jeff Legwold's going to join us, give us his very intelligent takes. We need somebody to do that. We also got your best bets of the day. That's all coming up 9:30 tomorrow morning. Forward Countdown to Kickoff. We're going to take a break. Up next, my favorite part of the show, State Your Case. Stick around. Welcome back into the Football Blitz. It is time for State Your Case, and we got a very special edition. Not the Payton helmet today, because we are doing the old school helmet.
Yeah.
State Your Case.
Whose lid is that? We don't know?
We don't know.
Okay.
Maybe Steve Foley's.
It might be.
Riley Odom. Both getting in touch.
I am going to state my case. Upgrading receiving core with a player like Davante Adams is imperative. I don't believe that that's imperative for the Broncos. Okay. Why? Davante Adams is 32 years old. He was healthy for the first several games of this year. 1 touchdown on the season. I want to see it via the draft, and there will be some draft talent. You want to grow with the young quarterback. You don't want the 32-year-old kind of living in that shadow for a guy like Bo Nix.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah, can I respond to that?
Yeah.
Because
Please.
I hear a lot of people talking about bringing in some playmakers now. I think that's crazy talk. These guys know how to make plays. You have to unlock their playmaking ability. It's about the system and getting these guys to flourish, not going and plucking out some playmaker who's going to change your fate. Let's develop chemistry with the guys we got.
I love it. Be a little patient.
Yes. Who is the best team in the NFL? Wow. After the quarter poll, 4 weeks in, I mean, look.
Let's overreact.
No, I'm just going to react, and I'm going to say the Chiefs are the best team. Why? Because they find a way to win.
Yeah.
2 undefeated teams left, them and the Vikings. And Patrick Mahomes isn't even playing that well.
Yeah.
And they got injuries, and they're still finding a way. As if you talk about a team, this is the best team. The Chiefs and the Broncos, unfortunately, are in the same division.
I am going to actually say that right now, the state of how they're playing, it's the rookie quarterback, Jaden Daniels, and the Washington Commanders. They are so fun to watch play the game of football. Dan Quinn doing a great job. Next one here.
Cliff Kingsbury, too.
Yeah, he's dialed it up. The most underrated player on the Broncos is, it's hard because I've talked about so many of these underrated players. I'm going to go with the last 2 weeks. Alex Palczewski.
Yeah.
Palcho.
Our guy Palcho, when you watch the film, he is physical in the ground game. He's doing a really good job of being in good position. He hasn't yet faced a Max Crosby-like pass rusher, and I'm anxious to see what it looks like against a truly elite pass rusher, but he is filled in beautifully. He's 2-0 as a starter at right tackle.
I'm going to throw one out there who just actually kind of emerged last week. Cody Barton.
Yep.
Stepping in for Alex Singleton. And I know there's not a small sample size here, but the idea was Alex Singleton was going to be really, really missed because of everything he brought to the team. I believe that, and I think a lot of people did. But Cody Barton stepped right in, and they didn't miss a beat. He wore that green dot, led the team in tackles, and so he's playing some good football.
Those are 2 really good
too.
ones.
Yeah.
We got to take a break, so no more. I asked for one. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to take a break. We got some player props. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back into the Football Blitz. Mike Sanford, Nate Jackson giving us their great takes, getting us ready for the game. And you know what? Let's do some player props, too, or team props.
Let's gamble.
We're going to start with points. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Over, under, set pretty low, 36.
I am going to go with the over. I think Gardner Minshew is better than people give him credit for, and I believe that this is going to be the game where Sean Payton looks at with great weather. He's gonna unload Bo Nix.
Okay.
We'll find out how many points they score.
I'm going to go under. I think this Denver Broncos defense is still very good. And the Broncos offense isn't quite up to, scoring 25 yet. I think the Broncos are going to find a way to win, but they're not going to score that many. I see it as like a 20 to 15 type of game.
I'm going to go over because I'm feeling a pick 6 from Pat Surtain.
Oh, love it.
I got a Riley Moss pick 6.
Okay, I like it. Bo Nix's longest completion, over under 33.5.
Under,
okay.
Yeah, I think he's going to a lot of back shoulder throws, which are typically 18 to 25 yarders. I just don't think that true launch is going to come open.
I'm going to go over. And here's why. 2 weeks ago, they started to unlock that, throwing downfield in the first couple plays and had some opportunities there. And then they didn't get to do it in New York because of the rain and whatnot. I think Sean Payton's going to dial up some deep throws, and I believe that these guys are going to make some plays.
You know what? I feel good about it. I'm going to go over as well. He almost got that much with Josh Reynolds last week, right?
Yeah.
So, you know what? I like it. All right. Well, good stuff. I hope that we are back here next week talking about a win, but it's always a win to sit down with you, gents. Thanks so much.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Romy.
Guys, we will see you hopefully after another Broncos win.
Later. That was Football Blitz, presented by Nissan.